Hoodies, stoners, and a poor nurse meet some alien critters and attack the block. What was your particular inspiration for the story?
The story's inspired by my love of creature movies and gang movies, particularly the movies I was watching when I was growing up in Stockwell and Brixton in the 80s, like Critters and Gremlins and E.T. and Tremors and Predator, and also gang movies like The Warriors and Streets of Fire and Rumblefish and The Outsiders. And when I was growing up, I always used to wonder why there weren't British movies that did what those American movies did, which was to fuse realism and fantasy. I wished something that used to go down. I used to wish one of the things that happened in American suburbia in those movies would happen in my suburbia of South London. So here I am, 25 years later, doing it.
Well, it's good to hear that Mac and Me is not an inspiration, because Luke and Jodie listed it as their favourite alien invasion movie.
Did they?
Oddly enough, yeah.
I wonder whether they've actually seen Mac and Me. Can you get it in this country even?
I don't know, maybe they just had a Big Mac and the association
Maybe,
worked.
exactly. Maybe the product placement from Mac and Me is still happening.
Yeah.
Like 20 years later, 30 years later.
How tough was it to nail the authentic inner city urban lingo in the dialogue? You get me, bruv?
Very good. Well, obviously I'm about a bit less street than Prince Charles. I'm not necessarily like one of those kids. I'm quite a bit older as well. So I did a lot of research. Before I even wrote the script, we spent a lot of time going around youth clubs in South London, and I approached learning that language as if it was Italian or French and I was doing a linguaphone course or something. I talked loads of youth groups through the story. I recorded everything they said and then transcribed it to learn how they speak. And I did all that before I wrote the script. And we also included the cast a lot, who helped shape the dialogue. So hopefully it's authentic, but at the same time it's a little bit larger than life. We've simplified it a bit so it's accessible for everybody, but hopefully it kind of feels true.
In terms of this casting authenticity, how did you ensure the young hoodlums appear real and not some kind of blazing squad types, stage school kids acting tough?
Because we found kids who had not been on screen before, so they weren't sort of polished and refined actors, even though they were very capable actors. They had a freshness to them that was important. And plus, even though none of them are necessarily directly from exactly the background that we portray in the film, a lot of them have contacts with or are close to that kind of world, so they could help us bring that authenticity. The movies that I loved in the 80s all had practical creatures in them, and it was fun to watch those movies as a kid because you felt like you could go and copy it, that you could make your own little monster or dress up as one, or something that felt more real about actually having the creature on set in the room with the actors. So I wanted to try and evoke that sense in my film. Plus, I'm a tiny bit bored as a consumer of digital monsters in movies. They all look the same to me slightly. It's almost as if there's an iPhone app for like a digital creature and everyone's using the same bit of software. So it was important for me that my creatures look really different. So we took a very different approach, and it's a combination of practical work with a little bit of digital work, but hopefully they're unlike anything you've ever seen before.